Tell me when we're live.
Good evening and welcome to the game between the University of Bristol and Clifton Robinsons at Combe Dingle. Tonight promises to be an exciting game of hockey. I'm Mike McDowell and I've got Alex Kirkpatrick with me.
Good evening.
So this game is between a team close to the top of Conference West and a team who, before last weekend, were pretty close to the bottom. However, Clifton Robinsons had a great result, beating Fareham 2-1 in a home game, which was a good result for both Clifton and University of Bristol.
Yeah, very much helped them at the top of the table, Mike. It's good to see them, battling for promotion alongside established sides such as Fareham. They themselves helped out with a 3-1 win against relegation rivals Plymouth Marjons. So both teams doing each other a favour, I think, last weekend.
So it'll be Clifton Robinsons in white playing from left to right as we're looking, and University of Bristol playing in red towards the goal on our left. Our umpires tonight are Christian Phillips-Adams and Dave Merrill, and they're ably supported by the match official Leslie Bain.
And we have started. A reminder of your teams tonight. Bristol University, Kit Nebbit, Robbie Jackson, Tom Harris, Ollie Izzo, Will Penrose, Ben Crocker, who captains the side, Tom Smith, Luke Crocker, Ben Tinker, Kincaid Ingram, who's vice-captain, Chris White, Ed Marshall, Ben Ferguson, Will Jones, Harry Ralph and Henry Brewery. Manager, as usual, Nick Sully, and head coach Ben Dudley. The away side tonight, in goal, Andy Hughes, Toby Sampson, Max LJ, Rory Thorburn, Scott Davidson, Richard Elston.
For the University of Bristol, played into the circle and then onto the body of the University of Bristol player. And a good early control there from Chris B, the umpire, blowing up and playing the ball after the whistle.
Looks like both sides have started the game with a back four. Bristol University, I feel, have been playing a 4-2-3-1 in their recent fixtures. See if they do the same tonight.
Oh, that's good. That's a good ball forward. Unfortunately, unable to be corralled before it crosses the baseline. It's going to be a 15-metre restart for Clifton Robinsons.
Tell you what, it's good to see the large age range on the Clifton Robinson side tonight. You've got youngster Ollie King starting right half, just 18 years of age, and Pete Sakula, who's actually had a fantastic season in the twos, playing left half at the age of 36.
Oh, that ball intercepted by Bristol University, and they're going to counter quickly. Can they make it circle? Good tackle there by Rory Thorburn, but it's been given as a free hit. And ultimately it breaks down and comes to nothing. Played out by Pete Sakula, who's wearing 299 on his back. There's some pretty big numbers on display here, Kirky, tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit funny. You've got the youngster wearing number 5 of an established player, and probably the oldest player in the team wearing the highest number.
The ball breaks. Clifton Robinsons get into the circle at the far end. Oh, and it's gone off the baseline. Dave Merrill with the signal for 15-metre restart. So there's a long-standing rivalry between both of these teams. They've often played in the same league. However, the University of Bristol have been up in the National Leagues for the last 10 years, and Clifton Robinsons have had a couple of stints at that level, but ultimately last time, 4 years ago, were relegated. There's also a big crowd here tonight. I believe that some of the Clifton Robinsons club are going out on the beers tonight, as the second team have a weekend off, and the first team clearly playing tonight means that they now have a free weekend. So my partner in crime this evening has gallantly provided us with some light refreshments, and balls played into the circle, or cleared out by Bristol University. Lovely low flicked ball by Rory Thorburn there, but well blocked by the Bristol University defence and cleared out. Oh, what a ball that is, Krosovic. Oh, unlucky Ollie. Unable to pick it up, and it'll be a sideline for Bristol University.
Yeah, long-standing fans of Clifton Robinsons will be intrigued to see Ollie King at right half. I think he's notoriously come through the junior age groups as a centre forward, and that's where he played most of his hockey this season. I think the shift came last week, did it, Mike?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see his range of passing. I missed the game last week, but he's always had a really good range of passing, even as a forward. So I'm excited to see what he can do tonight from that right half position.
Yeah, for sure. He assisted the captain, Jamie Mortimer, for the opening goal last weekend.
There he is on the ball now, breaking into the circle.
With a half-pitch aerial, as I was going to say. He has more of an opportunity to use that skill playing at right half, I feel, than centre forward. First substitutions of the game seems to be being made by Bristol University. They've got a mixed student, non-student side here. Approximately 10 students in the side, 6 people from outside. A good blend of youth and experience. Of course, they finished their Bucks League already a couple of seasons ago. I believe they came runner-up in their league, which is no mean feat. Oh, that's a thumping tackle out there by Max. And he's carrying it over. So that's a big carry. Shot on the backhand. Oh, well saved. Well saved by the keeper. Cleared away with a big aerial. Cagey start to the game, I would say, Mike.
Yeah. Ollie King here, looking to spread the play into the middle. There's Max Liebenschutz-Jones, but a good tackle there by the Bristol University player. The ball comes away, and then Max has a little bit of a nibble from behind. We'll see if the umpires are going to manage that throughout the game, breaking down of play.
Can tell you're focusing on your umpiring qualifications at the minute.
Oh, lovely turn in midfield there.
It's a lovely tackle by Rory. Good to have him back this year after taking a couple of years out of the game.
Yeah, long stalwart at the club. Of course, he was first team captain last time the club were in National League, and he's a big presence both on and off the field. Being able to neck a pint in less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, on-field activities as well as off-field activities. He's slowed down a little bit since becoming a father, but always welcome back to the club. I think experience of key players like him and Scott Davidson also on the ball there has been really crucial this year to them picking up some better results than last time out in the National League, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. The team has a lot more experience than when we were in National League 4 years ago. And that's definitely helped with picking up points in close games, which we failed to do last time and were unfortunately ultimately relegated.
It does help as well that newcomers to the club this season have a plethora of National League experience as well. People such as Toby Rowlands has played a little bit for Ashmore as a junior before coming up to Bristol for university. Pete, as mentioned, obviously years ago. But there's 2 boys as well, Ken and Max playing in midfield tonight, who've both experienced National League hockey at University of Nottingham. We're keen to keep developing those links. In fact, talking to the University of Nottingham, did you see their wonder goal against Exeter University in the week?
I did not, sorry.
I'd thoroughly recommend finding that on Twitter if you can. Player picks it up on the halfway line, beats 4 players and puts it past the flailing keeper. I think that was the Bucks Cup semi-final where they'll see Uni of Nottingham versus Loughborough, I believe. Dangerous looking attack here down the right. Oh, well tackled from Ollie King.
Yeah, that's a lovely tackle, showing that he can do
and there's
the defensive side of the ball as well as the pretty stuff up front.
There's the aerial we were talking about. Useful asset for him to have. Picked this time.
Little nibble there. I think we're about to see the first card of the game. That's Toby Rowling's green card. That'll be 2 minutes on the sideline.
I think he's a tad unfortunate there. I think Ken made the initial bad tackle. Good to get some feedback from people watching online. Get your comments in. We're enjoying them. Thanks, Nick Robilliard. Hope you're enjoying your holiday.
Nick would have loved to play in a game like this. It's unfortunate that he's chosen to go skiing instead.
I have no idea. Oh, brilliant block from Ken there. Oh, veteran Jarvie as well, called up to the ones for I think his first game this season. Linking up play nicely. Oh, Robbie's not happy there with that decision. They have every right not to be happy myself.
Good turn, a lovely cross on the backhand there.
Well blocked by Scott.
Cleared away by Scotty.
Lots of chat coming from Robinson's keeper here. He's marshalling the troops really well. Fantastic penalty flick save last weekend. I think that makes it 2 penalty flick saves in as many weeks.
That is, yeah. There's a very good call from Crispy there, calling the stick obstruction from the University of Bristol player. Those are often quite difficult to spot, but he was man on the spot there and got the decision completely correct. You're liable to a bit of stick obstruction yourself, aren't you, Kirky?
Yeah, I blame the opposition.
Oh, it's a good tackle there, and is this going to amount to anything for Bristol University? No. Thorburn with the great interception. Double interception there, assisted by Micah Smithard from midfield too. And that's Toby Rowling's back on the field after his green card. My colleague has done his research for this evening. He's been looked up a lot of the University of Bristol players. Have you got any interesting facts for us?
Yeah, I'm trying to put faces to names at the minute. There's some fantastic chat on their Instagram.
It doesn't really help that they're playing towards us, so we can't see any of their numbers. So the list of their numbers and names that we've got is a little bit useless. And Clifton Robinson's, and both halves are giving as good as they get there as George Russell loses his stick, taking the aerial down.
Now there's a man who's liable to a stick chop. Ooh, risky pass. Yeah, well, good composure there.
It's a pretty big claim to say that you've never failed to do something, isn't it, Kirky? Because all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure.
That's true. I know a thing or two about that.
Ken Gainsworth picking the ball up in midfield, playing it out to Scott Davidson as Robbie's just trying to absorb a little bit of pressure, take a bit of sting out of the game. Bristol University turn it over. Lovely play down the right hand side. Is there going to be a cross? Oh, he's managed to maintain possession.
I've just noticed Dr. Richard Elston has joined the field. He'll be keen to prove a point today, I think, having played for Bristol University for many years. He'll be especially excited about a Friday night game, meaning he can get up bright and early for park run tomorrow. Runs an 18-minute 5k.
He's a very, very fit man. He makes all of the rest of us look average.
You and that camera.
Oh, sorry. Good point. Oh. Strong whistle from Christian Adams there.
Lots of chat from the sideline. They've clearly not read England Hockey's code of conduct. A couple of players losing their footing here. It has been raining in Bristol, those of you from afar, this afternoon. It's quite windy up here as well.
And this is a notoriously slippy pitch, one of the slippiest pitches in Bristol. And quite often away teams come here and struggle to keep their footing in the first half. We are fortunate in that we have trained on this quite a lot. So even though, you know, it's a Bristol University home game, and this is like a home away from home for Clifton Robinsons.
It's actually closer to my house than our home pitch. I wish we played here every week. I have to say, the transfer around the back, bar a couple of mistraps here and there, has been pretty fantastic to watch today. Good composure. No team really feeling the need to rush it. It's enjoyable to watch as a spectator.
As captain for the night, Connor Pennell getting turned over in midfield, but Clifton Robinsons retain possession, and Ollie King plays a lovely ball forwards, releasing, that looks like Ken Gainsford, who gets into the circle, but is well tackled, and Bristol University breakaway. Great
organisation at the back from Bristol University there. 3 men round the ball, no one flying in. Lovely to see. From the calls of sit down in the crowd, I believe someone may have been skilled up there. A bit too far away for me to see, I have to say. First real spell of controlled possession from Bristol University, I'd say here. A lot of what they've been doing has been getting the ball forward early, just like that, in fact. But
yeah, or turning Clifton Robinsons over. Clifton Robinsons have seen a lot of the ball, but they have turned it over in the dangerous areas a few times, and most of the time that's led to an effective University of Bristol attack. But ultimately, it's been snuffed out by the strong and experienced back four of Clifton Robinsons.
Yeah, 2 contrasting styles of play, I'd say. It's definitely a good one for the spectator. Ooh, we've left a little bit too much space out here. Bristol University have a lot of space down the right. Thankfully, I think it's come to nothing. Yeah, dribbled off the end. Can't be long left in this quarter now, Mike. I'd say it's a good first quarter so far. I'd say lesson number 1 for me in my first commentary stint is definitely stop praising players too often. Every time I seem to praise a team or a player, they do the complete opposite thing.
It's just the commentator's curse, Kirky. You are
particularly susceptible, but apparently.
Even as a newbie commentator, you've discovered the art of the commentator's curse. That's the end of the first quarter. That is, score is 0-0.
Not really many clear-cut chances either. I think only the Bristol University keeper, maybe 1 save each.
Yeah, I don't remember Andy Hughes and the Clifton Robinsons goal being tested too roundly. Bristol University have got the ball into the circle a lot, but it's been picked up very effectively by the big twin towers at the back, Rory and Scotty.
And what do you think of Connor Pennell's leadership today? Obviously his skills will be tested in a different way to usual, with Jamie Mortimer being out injured.
You know, Connor's a very experienced player at this level. He's joined the club, you know, good 10-15 years ago now, and he's grown into that leadership role, and he's definitely probably the first or second name on the team sheet, and he's deserved of having the captain's armband today with Jamie missing.
It's good to see we've got listeners far and wide sending messages in. Keep it up, guys. It's fantastic to engage with you all.
Just had a message from Graham Walcock, who is the umpiring selector for the west of England, and he thinks that the green card was perfectly well deserved, and to be honest, I have to agree with him.
I am susceptible to a card myself. Major caveat there.
I didn't start the clock in that quarter.
No harm, no foul. Ready to start the second quarter. More action coming straight up. Clifton Robinsons look unchanged from the end of that first quarter. Bristol University made a couple of late changes. Can't quite see who that is, but it's definitely a centre back who's changed. Seem to have immediately settled into a familiar pattern of play. And I have to say, it looks like Clifton Robinson's also deploying a two-man defensive midfield screen, just like Bristol University did in the first half. Be interesting to see if they change it up to counteract what Robinsons are doing in the second quarter. One tackle too many there, I think.
Yeah, turned over by Bristol University, who get the ball into the circle. It's pulled back, but that's lovely, well tidied up by Max Liebenschutz-Jones, and then he's run into by the forward, and it's free hit.
Really nice turn there, Max, isn't it? Just in there. Takes guts to do that in such a close proximity to
He's
the goal.
such a difficult player to tackle. Many training sessions I've had to try and deal with him, and he's just got very, very good hands, but he's also very athletic and surprisingly strong for someone that's fairly lively built.
Goal of the season contender as well, I believe.
Yeah, carried the ball a good 50-60 yards, and then hit an upright reverse into the top corner of the net. So that was a pretty good goal.
One thing for sure about this team, in fact, this year, I would say, is that the goals have been spread pretty evenly throughout the team. There's no runaway top scorer, is there?
No, in fact, I'd be hard pushed to name the top scorer at the moment. There's a lot of people sitting on 3 or 4 goals, including Nick Robilliard, who is unfortunately skiing this evening. Bowled it into the back of the net.
They all count the same, as they say, whether you've run from halfway and smashed it in the top corner or just dribbled it in at the near post.
Oh, Scott Davison with a testing ball forward there, but unfortunately no one made the lead to get on the end of it. You see Bristol University quite easily slipping into like a hybrid back 3, back 4 situation as they try and play the ball up the channels, and they did that very well in their last attack, which ultimately came to nothing, but they are able to transition between those two styles of play quite easily and play the ball forward and try and overload the Clifton Robinsons team.
Yeah, I remember playing them in the friendly after Christmas. They had
that's
aerial
new
out
ball,
of play.
please.
Yeah, I remember playing them in the friendly after Christmas, and they had plenty of shifts of tactics and setup. One indeed, I think it might have been man to man, but the call was Chelsea all over, which is pretty ironic given that it looks like Chelsea might all be over.
Yeah.
And incredibly funny if you're not a fan of Chelsea Football Club. And my words of wisdom are, I hope you enjoy Carlisle United away.
Again, Bristol University have slipped into a back 3 formation to try and create an overload down one of the channels. And they're able to spread the ball very wide very early and look for that space, both down the channel and into midfield as they've done there. Well, ball flashed in, but wide of the goal. Ultimately no danger.
Robinsons do need to be careful of that high player. Bristol University seem to keep getting that player in behind our back line and threatening. And on that occasion, bore no fruit, but it's definitely one to be aware of.
Ollie King now finding himself at left half with a lovely little ball up the line, looking for the return in field, but Connor instead chooses to come back to Micah Smithard. Oh, that ball is played well up the left-hand side though. reverse stick cross into the circle. It deflected behind for a 23-metre restart.
Or a long corner.
I was seeing if you'd bite on that one.
Who calls it a 23-metre restart? I don't care if that's the rules.
I know Crispy calls it a 23-metre restart. Oh, a lovely bit of interchange there down the right-hand side. Toby Sampson just unable to get on the end of the pass from Max.
Talking about some key names earlier on, it'd be remiss of me not to mention Peter Smith, who's down here as always, taking some fantastic photos. Fantastic volunteer. Doesn't really have an association with either club, but I know both Bristol University and Clifton Robinsons owe him a great deal. Our social media platforms, all our programmes, newsletters, would look far worse without him. I'd very much recommend giving him a follow on Twitter and Instagram, and especially Facebook, where he uploads upwards of 150 photos every weekend, every match in fact, that he attends. A real servant of sport in Bristol.
Oh, good tackle there by Max. Suspicions of maybe a little bit of stick obstruction in the centre of the park there, but not seen by the umpires, so played on, but well tackled by Max in the end. And then one back by Micah, who goes for the aerial route over the top. And it's not going to be reached by Ken, who's ended up in the centre forward position.
We're up here with the Bristol Uni statistician who's supplying us with some information, and it's interesting to see that although in the first quarter Bristol University had far more 23 penetrations, the number of circle penetrations was in fact equal. Differing styles of play, I think, perhaps showing there.
I'm surprised you called it the 23-metre line, given how old school you are.
You know, I either get stick for being old school or being 12, so you got to settle for something.
So again, Clifton Robinson's turned the ball over. A bit of sustained University of Bristol pressure here. Or George Russell, a little bit of a late stick in there. Ball into the circle, but again, nicely tidied up by Max, who then gives the ball away. Oh, good tackle by Toby. Rory on a cold, dark night.
Well, if I met him in an alleyway, I think he'd be going home with my wallet.
It's been given as a University of Bristol free hit. However, Crispy's not happy with the location and is asking to take it again. Connor doing his best there to manage the ongoing relationship with Crispy.
Dangerous looking ball in the corner, crashed in.
Well, Connor Pennell breaks out, wins a free hit, relieves a bit of pressure for Clifton Robinsons.
The pattern of the play is very much that if Robinsons are going to score, it looks to be on the counter-attack, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've played some nice balls forward. They've been unlucky with, not being able to connect in the final quarter. As Ollie King misses the intended target with the ball there, and it goes off for a sideline to the university.
It's a raucous crowd here, you have to say. Don't blame them. It's not often students get to come and watch some great Friday night hockey. I'm informed that it's chips and a beer in the bar for £5. Those of you viewing from the sports centre. Hopefully not too many beers for those players playing tomorrow.
No, of course, the University of Bristol second team and Clifton Robinson second team also occupy the same league, and both are going great guns.
Yeah, in fact, let me alter that statement. Hopefully their second team are having hundreds of beers tonight and a bit ropey in the morning.
Oh, and now it's the University of Bristol's turn to cheaply turn the ball over.
You made a good point there, actually. It's fantastic to see this season so many of the Bristol University and Robinson sides lining up in their respective leagues. I think first team through to third team all had fixtures against each other. Hopefully building a bit more of a sort of collaboration to do events like this in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite the two clubs being quite big rivals. There's a very amicable relationship from top to bottom, and there's been a lot of joint events that have been held in the past. And I think both clubs are a credit to hockey in Bristol and a credit to hockey in the west of England.
Well wriggled out there from Max. He's finding himself at right half now, having been playing in midfield earlier. Oh, lots of space there for Micah. Micah back after a weekend away, celebrating his 10-year anniversary last weekend. Pretty spectacular, if you ask me. Childhood sweetheart, Ash, I believe, watching from the crowd tonight.
Not sure you're old enough to have had a 10-year anniversary, are you, Kirky?
Well, there's a word for that.
Oh, nice long ball, deflected away from its intended target. Actually, I think he might have been better off leaving that ball, and it would have made the circle and put a bit more pressure on the Robbie's defence.
How long have we got left, Mike?
Just over 6 minutes, so see if either team can find a goal before half time, and then we can go and get some refreshments at half time and
£5, as I said.
probably put a jacket on for the second half because it's getting a little bit chilly.
I've done that stupid thing where you don't bring a thick warm jacket because you're probably going out later, given that I've not got a game tomorrow, and forgotten that I've got to stand in the cold for 2 hours before.
I've done the stupid thing of bringing a thick warm jacket but leaving it out of reach and from the cable that's currently tethering me to the streaming setup.
Okay, so I think yours is a bit more stupid than mine. That's a first. Oh, fantastic pick on the far side.
By Connor Pinnell there. Oh, and I think he took a whack in the head for his troubles.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, I think it was only the ball and there wasn't really any pace behind it.
It's given against Connor Pinnell. I can only assume the umpire feels that must have come up off his own stick.
Yeah, I think it probably did. And then, of course, it's hit him in the body, and that would be a free hit to the University of Bristol.
Don't think he's particularly happy with that decision. And in fact, I think he might be getting sent off the pitch to have an assessment of that little head knock there. Yeah, it's definitely a substitution. I'm not going to go all Chris Kamara on you. You'd be Jeff in this instance, I reckon, Mike.
Thanks. Oh, it's good.
Well, that's a lovely drive infield. Nice little squeeze. Well picked up by Sam. That's Sam Skelton, yeah. Another new find this season, transferred from Swansea. I have to say there's a real sense of maturity in this player that's been missing in recent weeks, I think. Just a couple of change of players, a couple of tweaks of the system. It just seems to have rejuvenated everyone for the last few games.
Oh, that's a lovely drive by Max there. Taking 3 or 4 players out of the game. I think he was fouled and then ran into a flat stick, so Clifton Robinsons will get the ball back. But that just shows you what dynamism he brings to the team, the ability to just turn it on, glide past 3 or 4 players, and you know, he didn't produce an end product there, but he has shown that in the past that he's got the ability to do that too.
Good
Again,
control possession.
You know, good spell of 10 or 15 passes, but ultimately that last pass into the 23 is just eluding the Robbie's players at the moment.
Yeah, it was good to see us progress up the pitch a little bit and have some possession in their half rather than our own for a change. It's the first time we've seen that this quarter. Oh, now.
Here we go, here's a break.
3 players deep. Oh,
here we go.
Unmarked to the top of the deep. Oh, on the backhand, and he finds the back of the net. Fantastic finish, and Clifton Robinson's just left exposed. Their venture up the field, as I said, the commentator's curse, ventured up the field for the first time, had some controlled possession, and left themselves with too much to do at the back. Defenders got back covered.
Through him, but it was well struck by the Bristol University player, so you let's not take away any credit away from that.
And immediately from the restart, Robbie's have played a long 50-yard forward ball down the middle of the pitch. And a lovely turn from, I think, Toby Rowlings it might have been. Found us some territory. Found ourselves back in Bristol University 23. Apologies once again for referring to Clifton Robinsons as us. As previously mentioned, both myself and Mike are players for Clifton Robinsons. Micah did just fall on the floor there, which was the most spectacular one of all. It was hard to stifle a laugh.
Yeah.
Bit of a dynamic back three now from Robinsons, or is that just... Yeah, I think they're reorganising now. Be good to see them try that. I know that's the way they played earlier on in the season.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of positional flexibility amongst the players. Scotty now finds himself out at right half and Toby Sampson in the middle of the pitch. And again, Max Liebenschutz-Jones has moved from midfield back into defence to offer the threat from deep that Ollie King was trying to bring to the game.
I'm unlikely to be found at Paris Fashion Week, Mike, but this number 97 for Bristol University, I'm not quite sure what he's wearing. Is he wearing tracksuit bottoms?
It's an interesting look because it almost looks like he's wearing leggings over the top of his shin pads, which would be an interesting choice.
I'll never forget Arjen Robben celebrating a goal for Bayern Munich.
A lifted ball into the circle there, lovely bit of 3D skill, but well tackled by Max Liebenschutz-Jones, and Clifton Robinsons get the free hit as the ball falls onto the Bristol University player's foot.
But yeah, as I was saying, Arjen Robben celebrating a goal for Munich wearing similar tights, and on that synthetic pitch they play on, doing a somersault as a result.
Now we know why Connor had to go off. He's come back on sporting a very fetching round the head headband, so clearly he was bleeding a little bit from that strike on the head with the ball.
Real fans will know Paddy Kisnorbo of Leeds United fame played with a headband for many, many years after splitting his head. Real childhood hero of mine. Those were dark, dark times, Mike. Almost as dark as last night. Clueless 3-0 loss to Aston Villa. Don't know why I bother. Robinsons just really need to settle down a little bit here.
Yeah,
I feel like they're rushing passes.
Yeah, they're struggling to maintain possession as well as they did at the beginning of the first half, and that ultimately has led to their downfall on a long break from the University of Bristol. So they don't want to give them many more opportunities to break into the circle from close range.
Yeah, with just a minute to play now, it would be really unfortunate if we do concede. Well cleared by Andy Hughes. In fact, that is half-time. 1-0 at half-time to Bristol University. Thoroughly entertaining end-to-end affair so far. Join us in 10 minutes for the second half that hopefully is just as exciting as the first. And we are back live. Sorry guys, we've missed the first 20 seconds of the second half. Couple of technical difficulties, and also it not being the 10 minutes advertised. Gave me time to go for a quick wee and get another beer, so I'm content. Reminder, 1-0 to Bristol University, a late goal in the second quarter. Unmarked player, came from a quick counter-attack, back, top of the D, backhand in. Bristol University have started the second half as they left off, attacking our 23, but it seems to have fizzled out and we've got a long corner. Good break, Mike?
Yeah, not bad. Just catching up with a few people watching the stream, taking some feedback on board.
Be good if I could have the same feedback.
Oh, lovely carry and good ball by Micah Smithard, but cut out by Bristol University's number 3. I've lost their team list.
I have to say I'm looking forward to this half, being able to see their numbers, make it a little bit easier for us to distinguish.
See how many of their names we get right and wrong.
It's a fairly straightforward lot, I expect.
That's Henry Breary playing the ball forward. He's a former Clifton Robinson's player, came up as a junior when we were in National League last time. Went off to university, he's come back and joined Bristol University.
You're sounding particularly old there, Mike. Reminiscing about the good old days.
It was only 4 years ago now that we were at that level and Henry was playing for us.
I thought you were going to say it was only 4 years ago that you had the pleasure of not knowing who I was. As a ball just zips across the D there. Didn't look particularly threatening from up here, but the size of a close chance from the sideline maybe make that seem like it was a bit closer than it was. Bit of parallax error, I think, in this half. A-level physics always coming in handy. That is a lovely ball out of defence. The calmness and composure that was missing towards the end of that second half. Seemed to have recovered a little bit of it. That one's slightly less good.
Oh, bit of afters in midfield there. Turned over and won by Clifton Robinsons, but we're going to go back for a University of Bristol free hit.
A bit of carry-on, as they call it up north.
I wouldn't know. I don't think I've ever been further north than the Watford Gap.
Apart from when you're giving softball professional camps in Manchester, I believe.
Yes.
Our new celebrity.
As Max carries the ball out of defence again. Wins a free hit and Clifton Robinsons can reset. Aerial by Rory Thorburn. It's missed by the Bristol University player, but Ollie King's unable to take it under control. I think if he'd managed to bring that down, it would have been a good attacking opportunity there for the men in white.
There's some good news similar to hitting balls with sticks. Zach Crawley's just made a test 100. 106 not out as we stand. Joe Root's done well to 74. 74 not out, much better than yesterday.
Is this the hockey commentary or is this sports news associated?
Well, grandstand's been off the air for too long is what I say. Bring it back. Starting here.
Well, Max turns the ball over there and the ball's carried into the circle by the University of Bristol player. Lost, but he was fouled outside, so it's going to come back for a free hit.
Just outside the dotted line, it looks like from here.
Will this be a crash ball into the circle? Ball into the circle, not really crashed very hard.
Well cleared. And a big aerial down the line.
Well taken by Ken. See if they can break away. Oh, that's a bit of a tackle in from behind there.
Lovely drive though as well, isn't it? Across the side. Open up the pitch massively. Now I've got loads of players in space. That headband is particularly fetching, isn't it? Cries have moved the ball from Connor means that they recognise on the pitch exactly what we discussed up here. Just need to not panic and move the ball rather than carrying it in effective situations. You know, of course, I am only mentioning the cricket, given the big derby that's coming up, the big Clifton Robinsons derby in the summer.
Yes, we're two of our teammates are fairly high-level cricketers in the west of England, so they are due to play each other this summer. So I think we will have a bit of a hockey club day in the sun at the cricket. clearly supporting neither of them.
Yeah, to be fair, we've got Jake Rowe playing for Chippenham and George Russell playing for Bedminster, and to be honest, I don't think anything is going to be better than them both getting bowled first ball.
Exactly. It's nothing better than a long 50 overs in the sun having been bowled first ball.
They both chucked the ball down a little bit from what I've heard as well.
It's getting a little bit scrappy, the game here. Neither team seems to be able to retain possession for more than about 3 or 4 passes before running into trouble. So I think Bristol University will just put their foot on it a little bit and slow the game down. It's Tom Harris, centre-back for University of Bristol, just controlling the game, stroking the passes out to both wings, now playing the ball into midfield.
He's one of those that's less enamoured with Clifton Robinsons, isn't he, Tom Harris? We're building a good relationship for the most part, but he coaches other Bristol rivals, Firebrands. Doing a Frank Lampard here, but no, all joking aside, it is good to see. It is good to see Bristol hockey coming closer and closer together. That's really good press from Clifton Robinsons. It's a shame Rich Elston puts in the tackle. Oh no, it's not. It's Jarve. Both on the balding spectrum. Easy to mistake, but
slightly differing levels of fitness
and
from
age. But yeah, it was good. They employed a good wing press there. Got 3 men round the ball. It's a shame more wasn't made of it, because that really was a blind alley that the Bristol University player Henry Brewery was carrying down.
Oh, that's a lovely give and go there from Ben Crocker, the Bristol University captain. He gives the ball off and goes straight to the circle. They get the ball into the circle, but Scotty Davidson's there tidying up.
I think the Crockers have been a little bit prolific in front of goal recently.
Yeah, in the reverse fixture, which was won 2-1 by University of Bristol, Luke Crocker got both goals, both from penalty corners. Bill Springett was the scorer for Clifton Robinsons. It was a good game. It was 1-1 up until 5 minutes to go, and then unfortunately the University of Bristol scored the winner that perhaps they didn't deserve given the game itself.
I'm sure there's an element of untruth in that. Bill Springett played a game of hockey.
Yeah, I know, it's a rare sight, Mr. Springett on a hockey pitch.
His ankles clearly not made of biscuits at that point. Like
I believe as well that was his debut National League goal, maiden National League goal. Sorry.
That's one more than me.
So substitution there with someone who's not on my team list just come on the pitch. Who's number 97?
Oh, it is Luke Crocker. He's obviously wearing a different shirt to advertised.
Yeah, supposed
wouldn't
to be in number
programme.
11, and I think we should protest the game, Kirky. Yeah, can confirm the cries of Luke, Luke, Luke means that is most likely to be Luke Crocker. Again, we're back into sustained levels of pressure by the University of Bristol on the Clifton Robinson circle. However, they don't make the most of that, and it's played directly into the circle without travelling 5 metres, and so it's a free hit to Robbies.
Yeah, as I previously mentioned, we are joined up here with Bristol University statistician, and we've just had a little look over the first half stats. Similar to first quarter, in fact, the trends continued. Lots more 23 penetrations, but similar amount of circle penetrations. And crucially, both teams have only had 1 shot each. But Bristol University, 1 shot, 1 goal, sees them still 1-0 up.
Thrown forward by Micah Smithard, and now Tom Jarvie putting on a lot of pressure there. Oh, nice effective pressure. Did win the ball, but I think it did hit his foot there. So the correct decision by Crispy to award a free hit.
Connor Pennell. Oh, there's a little bit of cynicism there. I think that's going to could be a card. Is that one of the Crockers has decided to put his hand on Connor Pennell's bandaged head. I think he's going to get away with it, but statistician up here certainly not happy with his player. In fact, has he been shown a card? He looks to be walking off. No,
I think he's just going to press
taking
the ball.
position. I think he's a little bit lucky to get away with that one. I think if Crispy would have maybe seen the full incident. It's one of those, isn't it, though? It's off the ball. You've only got one set of eyes. There's 22 players on the pitch.
It can be very difficult to see things off the ball, especially when you're trying to place the ball for the free hit and look at if the players can take a self-pass for a quick free hit.
I have to say, I'm a useless umpire, Mike.
I think you're being a little bit harsh yourself. We've umpired a couple of games together and you were pretty decent. Oh, lovely ball there from Rory Thorburn, finding Toby Rowlings just inside the 23.
Nice little turn.
Off a Bristol University shin pad, and Ollie King will now line up the free hit.
I have to say, Toby there, nice turn. He is one of the better carriers in the team. I think he just needs to. It's been unfortunate he's not added enough goals potentially to his tally this season. A couple more, maybe we'll see him really in with a shout to start every game at least.
Some good work by Rich Elston there, maintaining possession through a couple of tackles and then winning a free hit. All played into the circle by Scott Davidson. Came off the foot.
It's a corner!
A penalty corner rewarded for the foot. No video replay here, although Bristol University didn't look very happy with that decision. I think it was about right from our angle.
Yeah, nothing to add really. It was a bit of a mess in there. One of these crash balls that takes a deflection, and sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I'm interested to see what they do here. They've been doing a lot of flicking. Who have we got on the pitch? Looks like there's Ollie King up there, Rory, obviously a big flicker of the ball. Micah's there as well. Yeah, it looks like Ollie's going to be injecting, so one of Rory or Micah over the top. Let's go to Rory. Oh, straight flick on goal. Saved out to the right. I'll tell you what, that's a fantastic save, isn't it? Those sort of saves that just really clear it out of the D, out of trouble. Ooh, there's a marginal call there. Ken finds a foot on the edge of the D. Ollie King takes it 5. Has a shot.
Has a shot just wide.
Whistles past the near post. Yeah, really impressed with that keeping though. Too often you see keepers put it straight back into the danger zone, but that was lovely. Palmed away.
Deflected it nice and wide, and then some very aware play by Clifton Robinson to take the sideline quickly and eliminate the Bristol University players, and then again from Ollie King to take the free hit on the edge of the circle quickly and eliminate the players around him. And actually very good umpiring by Crispy to let both players do that. The ball maybe not in exactly the right position or not exactly stopped, but not taking away the advantage gained by the attacking team. As Connor plays the ball off Micah's foot there. Again, just that sloppiness of the play from Clifton Robinson's, that final pass is not really going stick to stick, and that's costing them at the moment on the score sheet as well as chances.
Do you know what I've noticed, Mike? We spoke a lot in the first half about Ollie King playing his new position of right and left half. But
he's now playing up front.
Yeah, I think maybe they've just noticed they're playing on the counter-attack a little bit more, and he's more likely to carry past that final man. Him and Toby Rowlands, very similar in that sense. They like to get their head down and beat a man. This last 5 minutes at least have been a lot more fruitful. So maybe it's a tactic that's working.
Oh, that's a lovely chuck from Rory Thorburn. Unfortunately, just missed by Ollie King. There was a Bristol University player, probably a good 5 or 10 metres in front of him, who went for the ball and missed it, and I'm not sure Ollie was expecting him to miss it.
It's been refreshing to see Clifton Robinson still try and play quite high. You know, when you're under the cosh a little bit like they were in the first half, it's very easy to sag off and maybe sit in a half-court press, which I think a half-court press is absolutely fine if you play it when you mean it, but too often I think teams get caught sat deep.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to, even though Bristol University are one of the top teams in this league, you want to take it to them in a game like this because anything can happen, and the previous game between these two teams showed that actually the gap between them in real terms is that's a bit nasty.
There's a backhanded Clesia properly, took a few weeks off and has back happy as Larry, but I think it's just important that we do that in hockey.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The fast-paced nature of the game, injuries are almost inevitable, but it's never nice to see someone actually get hit by the ball or a stick. So we wish all the best for the Bristol University player. But as Kirky said, he is sat up and he is actually being attended to by Rich Elston, who is a military doctor. So there's not really anyone better to be attending to him in this moment.
Yeah, both teams taking the opportunity of a break in play to have a bit of a huddle, a bit of a chat about what to do. I think it's nice seeing them play high, like I said. I heard the shout from the coach about getting a player in behind, perhaps. When you've got the threat of a couple of players in our team can chuck a big aerial, it's worth keeping in mind. There will be that one time where they miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hockey's evolving into a game that's turning the distance on the pitch.
Turning the distance in the pitch into...
I don't know, I lost my train of thought.
Lost for words at the skill on display. That's what it is, isn't it? Just... yeah. You're right.
Hockey's evolving into a game where passes can be made both in the air and on the ground over much longer distances, much more effectively, and that's meaning that teams are prepared to gamble with leaving players high and know that they can get the ball to them, and those players will have opportunities to score.
I think the difference between hockey and a lot of other sports is that the rules and the regulations are quite fluid. They change them at a regular basis. You think self-pass rule came in 10, 15 years ago. It was only 6 years ago or so that you weren't allowed to pick a ball above your shoulder for fear of getting a yellow card.
Exactly.
Gone are those days.
And there's a good team at the FIH who look at the rules and look at modifications to the rulebook all the time, and we've seen that with the 2022 rulebook, where interceptions on aerials are now going to be allowed as long as it's not dangerous, which actually leads to really exciting moments in play.
Is that at all levels, Mike, or is that just at the top level? Because I can see that being a little bit problematic lower down the pyramid.
That is at all levels.
Oh, blimey.
However, we do have the rest of this season to acclimatise, as England hockey don't introduce the new rulebook until the beginning of the new season.
Do you know my favourite rule change has been over recent years?
Yep.
It's that breaking early on an attacking penalty corner. For too long, I think, when you break early on an attacking penalty corner, the injector now has to go to the halfway line.
Yes, absolutely.
For too long, there was no punishment, I think. Just sending a deflector back, that's not really a punishment, is it?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's evened up the balance between the punishments of a defender breaking early and an attacker breaking early at a penalty corner.
To be totally honest with you, because of situations like what we're seeing here with the head injury, I think the days of penalty corners in hockey, as we know them, are numbered. I can't see them lasting another generation, if I'm honest with you. I think they're very dangerous. I
have to say, I'm not a massive fan of that sort of set piece as it is right now. I think it could do with some modification in the long term. You have to say it is a very skilled thing to be able to drag flick a ball from 16 yards, but we are seeing just the advent of the defenders having to protect themselves more and more and having to be prepared to run down the line of the ball, and that doesn't make for particularly exciting or interesting passages of play.
It's a totally isolated skill as well. Like, obviously I'm not a drag flicker, so I'm not the biggest fan, but it's an isolated skill that you don't use anywhere else in the sport. You don't really get many other sports where you get a complete skill that you only use in one single.
That's true. That's a very valid point.
I quite enjoyed a few seasons back in the Hockey India League where they had the rule for 2 goals for a field goal, so people were injecting it outside the 23. I'd like to see something similar for short corners going.
Yeah, or there's the Hockey Nines version in Australia where the ball is played out from the injection point out to the 23-metre line, and it's played as I think it's a 5v3 at goal.
Oh, fantastic!
So you actually have it's a real gameplay situation, but with an overload that's an appropriate restart for the game when there's been an offence by the defensive team in the circle.
So it sounds like we're in agreement. We both would prefer that going forward, maybe. So FIH, England Hockey, if you're listening, you've got the unofficial stance of Clifton Robinsons on where we stand on the evolution of penalty corners.
So it looks like the Bristol Uni player is up and moving about.
I'd say I spoke to a few of the crowd while we were down there at the half-time interval, and a lot of them just expressed an opinion on what a fantastic event Friday Night Lights is. It's our second of the season. I think it might be Bristol University's first. And it's just a fantastic opportunity to get everyone down.
It is. I'm a big fan of Friday night hockey. I think we don't make a big enough spectacle about games, and hockey is a massive community of players that love to come and watch, but because of the scheduling, a lot of games are played at the same time as other players are playing. So these Friday night games, or the Sunday games that the men quite often play in the National League, are really good for getting crowds to games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of the, should we say, more established clubs with their own pitches and their own clubhouses benefit from the fact that they're all playing in the same place throughout the day, so they all get to see a lot. But clubs such as ours, I think we play on 5 different pitches, so this is sort of a great opportunity to get everyone down to a single pitch, getting to watch it. And I've wandered around. There's people from the ladies 1s, I've seen some from the ladies 3s, the ladies 4s, men's 1s through 4s are all on the sideline as well. Probably some more. It's just really fantastic to get the whole club together.
And we're back underway with Bristol University restarting the ball from a free hit. Oh, it's turned over though by Micah Smith out of midfield, and Ollie Jones is coming forward.
Fantastic
last
tackle.
ditch attempt to tackle by Luke Crocker, who I think got something on the ball
Definitely
to keep it away from Ollie King.
And Ollie King's taken the sideline. Oh, and he's beaten 1, beaten 2, beaten 3.
Oh, I think he's tried to win the penalty corner there, failed, and then got a half shot away at goal, which unfortunately was off target.
It's a shame that. I think he should have just whizzed it across the face of goal. Don't buy a ticket.
Who am I to say though, because I wouldn't have been able to beat the 3 players in the first place. So.
Oh, that's very true. These youngsters that have come through all these pathways these days learn completely different skills to what we did growing up.
Yeah, and I believe Ollie actually has his own goal and quite a large patch of AstroTurf in his back garden that he's honed his 3D skills on.
Isn't he incredibly fortunate? Oh, I like that ball. I like that ball, but sometimes it is easy to read. Like that. Is that Crocker?
That's Ben Crocker, the Bristol University captain, just being penalised there.
Nice idea though from Sam Skelton. I'd like to see more of that. Sampson gets us back underway. Now, looking at some of these numbers, my favourite number I think in the club has got to be Shilen Tanner, who's his preferred number was unavailable, so he's gone for 4-2-4. You know what the logic behind that is? It's his favourite formation. So if I ever get called a hockey badger ever again, God knows what he is.
Well, Shill has a vast amount of experience, both playing and coaching. So if there's anyone who would have a number after a formation, I would expect it to be him.
I'd have had a 4-2-3-1 myself, but I don't think you can have 4-digit numbers.
I'm not sure with the size of your shirt that it would fit across the back, even if you could.
Struggled to fit my name on it as a result.
There you go, Toby Rowlings has isolated the man in the corner. Can he get the ball into the circle?
That's a circle penetration.
Oh,
it's loose! Oh!
Goalkeeper came out, cleared it.
Is that Russell on the ball? No, it's not. It's Max.
Max
Pulls it back.
Oh, Scott Davison just couldn't trap it in the circle, and now Bristol Uni have the option to break.
That's a fantastic opportunity though, and it just shows that Robinsons are still in this game. At 1-0, it's still anyone's game.
I have to say it was a really great piece of reaction work by the goalkeeper to come out and clear the ball when it broke free in the circle and get there before Sam Skelton did.
Interesting, if you look up, Bristol University have got 2 players high. I wonder if they'll try to hit long balls to them, because they seem to be isolating 2v1 at the back. It's quite interesting to see. And that's the end of the third quarter. The score remains Clifton Robinsons 0, University of Bristol 1. Just 17.5 minutes left to play. It's one of those where I think you see the score on paper and it looks a bit dull, but what a game this has been, end to end. Not many shots, but I think it's one of those gritty battles that you like to see. And I talk about grit. I think some people think about grit in terms of like strong tackles, lots of fouls, but we haven't seen any of that. We've just seen sort of a midfield battle.
Yeah, we've just seen both teams have come out, to play a bit of hockey, but they're also not too loose. They're trying not to give the ball away too often. I think probably Clifton Robinsons have been a little bit more guilty of that than Bristol University have. But it's a good sign that Clifton Robinsons are able to go toe-to-toe with a team like Bristol University in a game like this. their performance last week against Fareham, which was a 2-1 win for Clifton Robinsons, was sort of a marker in the season where they had been playing quite well, but perhaps being a little bit loose and giving away too many goals. And the reality was conceding one against Fareham, who were at that point were second in the league, was a really good outcome, and that just showed that if you can score a couple of goals at this level and not concede, then you're going to win.
Yeah, and also I think if you look back maybe a month or two, Fareham were the boys to beat. They were in form. I think 6 or 7 wins on the bounce they had. Even featured in an England hockey article about how they're the club to follow. And to be honest, I think it was absolutely right. If you read the article, something like half their squad was homegrown, and that's it's a luxury we don't quite have here, because we seem to lose a lot of players when they get to 18, go to uni. But fantastic to see other clubs setting a different way of doing it, rather than the big clubs that you see in London in particular, who have to recruit a lot of their talent. I know our girls in particular, obviously prominent in the Premier League. If girls are going to be playing in the England hockey setup, they're going to be based in London. And I see Toby running onto the ball. He's picked it up and he's just kept it in. That's fantastic play from Toby. Goes back to the man. What's he going to do? 1v1. Hits it into the... What a ball. Oh, and it zips through. Just beats 2 players in the D. Who's that that's high? Is that Ken? It is.
I'd say that was good defensive work by Robbie Jackson in the corner here. He made sure that Toby couldn't beat him, and so Toby had to resort to putting the ball into the circle with a bit of pace, and I think ultimately that led to both Rich and Ken missing the ball.
I think if they'll look back at this on the video session and critique it, they'll see that they were both on the same line as well from the player.
You want to try and have a little bit of offset from each other in the circle, such that if one of you touches it, then the second person is more likely to pick the ball up, and also it gives you better sight lines for that ball coming in.
Ooh, a little bit of shoulder to shoulder, we like that.
Oh, Bristol make it into the circle, and that ball flashes across, takes a little bit of a deflection, and goes out for a long corner. Sorry, a 23-metre restart.
I have to say the pattern of this game seems to be there's a lot of near misses, not many shots. That final bit. Final touch.
Both teams perhaps lacking a little bit of quality up front. We haven't seen very many penalty corners, and I think both teams would say that they would strive to score goals from penalty corners, and so therefore winning them is important.
Well, you say very many corners. I think there's been one in the whole game. And Ollie King enters the top of the D, or nearly.
It just rolls off the end of his stick and tied it up by University of Bristol player, who then immediately gives it back to Clifton Robinsons.
Who's that? That's one in midfield.
Max Liebenschutz-Jones puts the ball in. Deflected up by the Bristol University player.
No, it's up off Ollie King. He's got on the end of it and he's deflected it into himself, I think. Unfortunately, that was a fantastic ball in through Max. But like we're saying, that's what both teams are doing at the minute, getting these fantastic balls in. Just need to put it in the back of the net.
Played up the line by Bristol University there, and they're going to get into the circle.
And it's a corner to Bristol
University. And it is a corner to Bristol University.
That's their first of the game. I'll tell you what, one thing that has impressed me about Bristol University this game is the way they carry the ball is very secure, protected by their body often. That position is just maybe been a little bit better than ours. We've carried it a little bit too far out in front at times, exposed it, whereas it feels like that carry there was no chance we could get anywhere near it.
Yeah, it was a very good body position, and ultimately that led to Scott Davison having to go down into tackle quite early, and that enabled the Bristol University player to put it on a foot. I'm just trying to work out who that was, but I don't think the person wearing that number is on my team list.
Stato doesn't know either.
No, it was number 13, but number 13 is not on my team list.
Chris White maybe, and it's been injected. And it's
that's
a real let off for Clifton Robinsons. Real let off. It's broken down at the top of the circle, and we've got a free hit. It's a proper skill, isn't it? Like we said, it's a closed skill, but you don't get to practice it if you don't get them in the game. And one of the good things I like about training is those situations where you do corners in the middle of games, in the middle of training, so that you're used to doing it while you're tired, while you're not fresh.
How much do you think that Friday night affects preparation and perhaps has affected the quality of the game, because these players are used to training Tuesday, Thursday, having, certainly the University of Bristol players will play on a Wednesday night, and suddenly having that schedule thrown out of whack a bit by putting a Friday night game in. A lot of the Clifton Robinson's players will have been to work today. Probably had to get here relatively early for this game.
If you want my opinion, I think that it's probably likely to affect the Clifton Robinson side more, just because, like you say, they've been at work rather than.
Well, good turnover there by Ollie King, who plays the ball into the middle. Tom Jarvie puts it through for Micah Smith.
He's just going to get on the end of it,
stick, but he is going to make it.
Plus, the Bristol boys have the experience of playing in Bucks, like you say, which is an evening game. I always found it was different and difficult for me playing Bucks evenings than it was Saturday mornings. That's unfortunate. It's broken down, and Bristol University are carrying out strong. Could have found a pass there, but it's held on to it for now, and he's found the pass now down the line. That's Max.
Will Penrose slowed the play up nicely there and then found the pass down the line, but ultimately it's come to nothing as Clifton Robinson's turned the ball, and Rory Thorburn sprays the ball out to the right wing for Micah Smithard.
Gone to a corner, but it has been resulted with a card. So Bristol University will be at 10 men for the next 2 minutes, and Connor has played that ball first time, trying to find the D, but has found the man blocking.
I mean, it was outside the 23, so it can't be a penalty corner.
That is also true. This is what I tell you, I'm not a very good umpire, Mike.
There's Ben Ferguson receiving the green card there as that ball gets flashed in and Tom Jarvie ends up in the back of the net. But Clifton Robinson's turn it over and Ollie King strikes it. Oh, that's just wide. That was a lovely strike by Ollie King there.
That's trademark Tom Jarvie as well, showing exactly what he has done for the ones for many years, just sliding into the goal, putting his nose on the line. You don't see so many youngsters do that these days. Not sure what it is, but I did see we had a youngster make his debut, Will, for us, make his debut in the twos, and it was good to see him throwing himself about on a far more abrasive service than this, I'd have to say. So maybe it's not a dying art.
To be honest, if I saw Ollie King winding up for a hit, I wouldn't be throwing myself into the goal because...
Well, that's where it's going, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd back him to put it in the corner, and he doesn't need me on the end of it getting in the way.
Pete Sekula showing every inch of his experience at the minute. I can hear him from the opposite end of the pitch, ordering other players around. Unfamiliar left half role, I think, for him.
Yeah, of course, Pete played National League for quite a long time with Leek up near Birmingham. And he's brought a wealth of experience to the second team and the first team training squad, and deservedly got his chance now in the first team the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's surely got to be a big factor of why they got that big win last week. And that was his second game for the first team.
Slip over in the corner, but wins the free hit, takes it quickly, drives into the circle, plays the ball off the baseline.
And it's a 16, fantastic. Stato doesn't quite agree, but that's why we love sport.
I have to say I'm going to plead the fifth on that and say I wasn't close enough to...
Well, I can't see at all. You got to appeal for it, don't you?
I'd say it is quite a unique commentary position from the corner of the pitch. I think Bristol University, could invest some money and build a tower further down the sideline.
Pretty rich from us.
Oh, Mike Herrera's at crossfield. Is it going to make it out to Rich Elston? No.
Where is that going, umpire? Umpire decides it's a long corner. Said in jest, obviously. Although I'm not sure where he was intending to put it, Mike. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's a tough one because the ball is in the air and he's trying to intercept it and have a swing at it. It probably looked more deliberate from our angle than it did from where Crispy has stood. So I can understand him just saying no. That's play on. It's inconsequential.
If it was me, I would just plead the fact I'm rubbish and therefore couldn't possibly know where it was going. Yeah, very clear change of formation here from Bristol University. It looks like they're playing a 4-diamond-2. One holding midfielder, but they're definitely playing a top two that they weren't doing at the start of the game. Really interesting to see how it evolves. Unfortunate. Good press in the corner there.
Oh,
Mike's just got beat down his left hand. But
just missed trap by Ben Ferguson. Ball was off and Toby Sampson restarts for Clifton Robinsons. Oh, that's good work by Ben Crocker, though, the Bristol University captain, to win the ball off Micah Smithell, but I think the ball did just go out of play.
I don't know what Mike is doing playing it from about 3 yards inside the sideline there, though, when it's clearly a sideline ball. He's a good player. We've missed him when he's not played, I think, this season. Of course, not including last week where he was away. Good to have him back. He obviously is a valued member of the club. He's also Ladies One's assistant coach, so spends every waking hour thinking about hockey and on the hockey pitch. Really glad to have him as a member of the club.
Oh, Tom Jarvie with a very good press there, and unfortunate not to pick the ball up, and now Micah does win the ball back. I think it might have hit Micah's foot there, but
yeah,
both umpires were unsighted, and Micah just gets the ball across
with the back stick.
But with the back of a stick. There's Robbie Jackson with an overhead. Yeah, that was going directly to the Bristol University player, so awarded a free hit to them as the Clifton Robinsons player encroached within 5 metres.
I have to say, Jamie Mortimer, captain on the side, injured, is definitely playing every pass. He's out there making every tackle. You can hear him getting more and more animated as he knows there's not long left to go, and the boys are very much still in this. Very different to what he said on the chat before the game, that he would take a back seat.
Oh, I'm not sure the crowd were happy with that tackle from Sam Skelton there, but I think he made a genuine effort at the ball, and the Bristol University player fell over. Probably a free hit, but nothing more than that.
Oh, Jarvie's beaten there, and the Bristol University are in the D, and he's beaten a man. I think it's a long corner. Good defending there from Clifton Robinsons to make sure it's nothing more than a long corner. Player steps over it and gives it to number 8.
Will Penrose.
Will Penrose. What we need is those wall charts printed out. Have you seen the football commentators have them? Bloody fantastic, them.
Well, I printed a load of stuff off and I left it on my printer at home.
What use is that, Mike? Why are you telling me that now?
I think that is Luke Crocker. I think
that's a yellow card.
Yellow carded there.
That is a cheese. That was a pretty nasty tackle, but I also feel Connor Pinnell maybe made a little bit more of it than there was. But you know what it's like when you're out there. There's
I think
ongoing battles.
There was intention to break down the play, but Connor didn't make much effort to go around the player, and so there was the body contact initiated by both players. Yeah,
by our clock, there's about 6 minutes left, so that means the Bristol University player won't quite miss the whole rest of the game.
Oh, it's a good interception there by the player who's not on my team list, whose name I've forgotten. Chris White.
He used to play in defence for Leeds, did Chris White, in the 80s. Before I was born. Bad times. Him and Peter Haddock.
What bad times were before you were born?
Well, yeah, it was the rise of hooliganism, isn't it, in football, and not good.
Oh, there's a little bit of close skill down in the corner by Will Penrose. Oh. Clifton Robinsons have been given a free hit there for a bit of leaning in. I'm not sure that I could see anything from my angle, but.
Ooh, very, very interesting to see the change of Bristol University here. Now that they're down to 10 men, they've definitely dropped off a little bit. They're playing sort of a 60% press, maybe slightly higher. But they're definitely giving the centre-backs a little bit more space than they were earlier in the half. Toby Sampson's got the ball out wide. That's a lovely ball into the middle. Oh, I think Micah could have turned and gone forward there. And that's, who's that on the ball?
Scott Davidson. Back to Rory. See if he comes out to the left-hand side. Nope, plays the ball into midfield. Micah looks forward, can't find an option. Oh, and just unfortunately misses a pass back to Rich Elston, and it goes off for a sideline for Bristol University, relieving the pressure that they were under, down to 10 players.
What do you think? 4 minutes left. Do you think we pull the keeper? What would you do? 11v9 outfield. It's pretty tasty odds.
I have to say Scott, I think, is going to be in trouble there. Didn't retreat 5 metres from the initial free hit, and I think he is lucky to still be on the pitch at this late stage in the game.
He does get himself into a bit of trouble, does Scott? Spent a night in the crash during lockdown, if you remember rightly.
Yeah, our team activities were Zoom calls, tactic Zoom calls, Zoom quizzes, the standard fare that everyone had. Scotty found himself half a bottle of Jack Daniels deep and ended up in...
Other brands are available.
In little Albie's crib for the night. Or as Bristol University flashed the ball past the post there.
Looked quite wide. Andy Hughes looked untroubled from here, but shots have been few and far between this game, so yeah, you've got to make them count. But yeah, pulling the keeper. What's your thoughts?
I'm a big fan of pulling the keeper. I think, especially given the way that this game's gone, and both goalkeepers haven't.
There's a coach on the pitch, I believe. I'm not sure quite.
No,
what's going on.
It's the match official who.
Oh, the match official is on the pitch. Wonder if something's been said or done on the sideline, if they've lost time potentially. Looks like the umpires are convening. Yeah, it looks like there's players together. Pete Sekula and one of the Bristol University boys seem to be.
I'm not sure. I think the confusion might have been about the colour of the card that was issued to Bristol University, and the player was allowed to return to the pitch before the card was up.
Ah.
And that's been questioned.
Well, yeah, that's incorrect, isn't it? It was definitely a yellow card from. It was a square, not a triangle.
There we go. So I've just heard Crispy relaying that information to both of the teams. I think that's been well managed by both umpires in the face of the questioning from the Clifton Robinsons team.
Fantastic to see. Both teams getting on with it. I once played 10 minutes against Nottingham Uni side in Bucks with 12 men. That was a fun one. Right, Bristol University seem to counter-attack there. There's lots of Robinson's men forward, but it's well won by, I think, George Russell potentially in the midfield. Yeah, it is. He's very wide. I'm not used to playing that position. Connor makes a drive through midfield. Con out is the call from the sideline. He's found a pass to Mike, who's back to Skelly, and he's gone wide. Toby Sampson's on the ball. He finds the ball into the middle. Toby Rollins picks it up. Oh, what? That's a great tackle. Oh, that's my sort of tackle. Which is otherwise known as a foul.
So Robbie Jackson with the interception, and on the receiving end of that rather loud tackle from Toby Rowlings. Oh, good pressing by Ollie King though, turning the ball over, but Bristol Uni come up with it, but then there's a foot.
Oh, that's a short
corner.
Just a little bit of naivety there from the player.
A lot of assumption there from the University of Bristol player that he was going to get the free hit. Didn't check with the umpires, and I think has been fairly penalised for that.
I have to say, I've been very impressed with Robbie Jackson at right half. It's not hasn't necessarily been the best player of the ball out, but he's been fantastic defending these one-on-ones down in this corner, especially in the second half.
We've had some shouts on social media that Robbie should have pulled the goalkeeper as soon as the yellow card was awarded, and to be honest, I think I agree with that. I think that Andy Hughes has had very little to do this game, so you take the numerical advantage, 11v9 for that 5-minute period, hoping to get an outcome from the game. Doesn't matter if you lose 2-0 at this point, but getting a draw out of this would be massive.
A corner this late in the game. We've got 0 on the clock, but I haven't even seen the 2-minute.
I forgot to stop the time when the time was stopped for the.
Ollie King on the corner.
Oh,
that's a great save. Oh, it's wide! Oh, put wide on the line.
I have to say that was a fantastic save.
Toby Sampson, I think, just put it wide after the fantastic save.
It was Tom Harris, who I think has had a very good game on the line with that stop, and then Toby Sampson unable to bury the rebound, probably slightly on the wrong foot for him as he came in to put it away.
That very much could be the moment that's won them the game, as he's slapped it down the field in the air. There's a bit of anxiety about both sides at the minute. Robbie's searching for time. I'm not sure how long there is, as we've said. Oh, crash ball finds Ollie King. What can he